I am Isaac Carter with the Catalyst Effect, and we are here at Dallas Startup Week. Dallas Startup Week is presented by the Debt Council, which you are a member of. So I am here with two of the leaders of the North Texas Angel Network. I knew how to say your name immediately before. I don't want to get it wrong again.
Sure, it's Ichan Stall.
Ichan Stall and Jeff Murphy. I can pronounce that one all by myself.
You did a fantastic job.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Yeah, happy to be here.
We have been having the opportunity to talk to a lot of really innovative founders and also a lot of people. And one thing I love about North Texas is there is a very vibrant community to support entrepreneurs and startups. And you all are a very important part of that community. I'd love to hear a little bit about you two.
Bug for entrepreneurship, although I wasn't prepared for it, but I knew at 14 years old that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, actually. I had started a little landscaping business and loved it, figured out how to be really more efficient and not just hard work, but working smarter and thinking out of the box. And it led me to just an explosion of ideas and thoughts. And so I started reading books on how to get rich quick kind of books, just fascinated with business. But after I graduated college, I ended up going into the corporate world.
Okay.
Actually, really interesting. I started off as a sports mascot for professional sports teams.
Really?
Yeah, I was in the world of business for sports. And so during the game days of the teams I worked for, I would do the mascot duties, but during the game days, but during the Monday through Friday non-game days, I was in the office learning about the business, sales, marketing. You wear a lot of hats when you work for small professional sports teams, which I did in the minor leagues. And then I went into the major leagues, and then you kind of really define role. But so fast forward, got a lot of experience in the sports world. And then while in the Bay Area, being in close to technology, the last sports team I was working at the Golden State Warriors and also the 49ers, decided to just go across the street to a tech company over there, and they were in the world of analytics. And for a hot minute, I actually studied statistics in college. Wow. Analytics was in my wheelhouse. I really loved sales, and so I tried to figure out how can I marry that. And so I went to this company that was in the world of analytics, and I said, I'd love to learn more about this and be open I'm open to coming over here if you have a job. And they're like, we're actually hiring. I went and did an interview literally that day, and they told me 2 weeks, you're starting. And so I gave my 2-week notice to the 49ers and went over to work for the software company that I knew nothing about. But I just knew that, this is the early 2000s, so just was excited to possibly learn about analytics. And I went and worked through a number of big corporations, including Oracle and Hyperion and Brio. Some of them went public, IPO, some got acquired. But all that experience finally gave me enough confidence to go on my own and become an entrepreneur, where I've had some failures and some successes. One of the big claim to fame is that our company kind of built ChatGPT back in 2015.
Wow.
Now, we didn't have large language models. We didn't have GPUs to kind of leverage.
Right.
But in a lot of ways, the first version of ChatGPT is what we did, but we did it just on the corporate data. So think of like Salesforce data or Jira or any type of data that you have internally, we would use it. And we were pretty much operating on terabytes. So big data, but nothing like large language models.
Right.
And there was really no manual on NLP, NLG back then. Algorithms were around for sure. Machine learning was coming up, but even machine learning wasn't the nomenclature that was used, fairly common just yet.
Yeah, you and I came up at around the same times, I think. I've been a data scientist and data engineer for 24 years.
Yeah. So my world was big data, predictive analytics. And so, and back then, and I'm dating myself, but we didn't even call it analytics back then. It wasn't even called business intelligence yet. Yep. It was called decision support software, DSS. I don't know if that rings a bell at all.
Reporting, dashboards. I remember the first time somebody called me and said, do you have experience with the Microsoft Business Intelligence Suite? I'm like, what does that mean? And they're like, DTS, SSIS, SSRS. I'm like,
that's right.
Yeah.
SSRS.
Okay. I am a business intelligence architect. Didn't even know that was a thing, but absolutely.
So that's my world. Yeah, like I said, it took us 3 years to build this product. But the big claim to fame is that we did all of Tesla's analytics for 5 years.
Wow.
And that really allowed us to obviously bring on a lot more clients. We were big in the healthcare space, big in the financial services. So all the big banks, we were providing anti-money laundering, AML type of analytics. And the healthcare, we're doing a lot of the clinical data off of Epic and GE, Cerner, McKesson, and things like that. And we built dashboards that were highly intuitive and easy to use. From there, I exited that company in the Bay Area, and I moved here 4 years ago. My wife is from from Plano, but we met back in California. Yeah, we moved here to be close to the family, and I immediately got plugged into the ecosystem here, the entrepreneurial ecosystem. Didn't know anything about it and didn't know a single person when I lived here. Wow. And just kind of started networking, and now I'm the co-chairman of the North Texas Angel Network and also the executive advisor to the Dallas Meetup, which is an organization that leverages a Big Ten approach for networking. We have our big quarterly event tomorrow at the Hero Bar, tomorrow from 6 to 9. Awesome. We've got almost 16 or 1,700 RSVPs.
Wow.
Yep. And it's a meetup type of effect. And then, as I mentioned earlier, Isaac, I'm also the board member here for the Deck Network as well.
It's amazing.
And then
Jeff, it seems like he has almost a talent for being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, that's for sure. And we were in the right place at the right time to have Ichan move to North Texas and want to take his enthusiasm for entrepreneurship. And at that time, we were building North Texas Angel Network kind of back out of the pandemic, if you will. Oh, yeah. And it was a very quiet time, which when people really want to be in person. So we've really had a really good growth curve out of that. And just to talk about myself for a moment, I had a corporate career and moved here to the Dallas area with Ericsson. And I had worked with a consumer electronics company before that, using my Spanish language skills from having grown up overseas with my family, and was able to make that part of my sales career with Ericsson. Back in the early mobile phone days, I realize I'm dating myself a little bit, but we took a really strong position in the market and had a terrific experience working with them. And of course, that led to the mobile phone market had its own, like all technology, lots of evolution in it.
Oh, yeah.
And then has two careers really with Ericsson. The first one with mobile phones. Then I got into their enterprise group when voice over IP was becoming more of a software tool, and phone systems were, business phone systems were completely being, changed dramatically, and so it really gave me more of a technical background that I hadn't had before in the consumer electronics and mobile phone phase. And then after leaving Ericsson in 2004, I said, I'd really like to, get out of the corporate, whole scene with the, realignments and the rifts and all the stuff that drives you crazy. I had moved my family across the country, 3 or 4 times. So started to get into this whole entrepreneurial area where working for smaller companies and really taking advantage. One of the things that I saw was that maybe if we could get some equity, that's how people are really making some money, And so it was a long process, and like it is for most entrepreneurs and like it is for a lot of us, it's an entirely different industry from working in corporate life. Right. But I ended up working for some startups, and also I have a brother who's very focused on being an entrepreneur, and he got me engaged with a company, MindBody Software, which was a really early SaaS play. And so I worked with that company for a while, and then got recruited by a software company in the mobile phone space, so decided to be the only American working for this small startup out of Israel and the UK. And it was the best decision I ever made because then the CEO of MindBody turned around and they needed a 5th person on the board, and they said, hey, why don't we get your brother Jeff on the board to be the independent board member? And 7 years later, my shares that were worth pennies or less when it started, they went IPO on the NASDAQ, and it was just not just that, but it was the experience of seeing the really intelligent and venture capitalists that came in with each successive phase, and the advice they gave in the boardroom, and also the good decisions that the founders made to grow that company and do the right things. It's hard for people to think about it now, but back then it was literally taking the CDs and saying, we're not doing this anymore. Yeah. We're going online. I mean, that doesn't sound like very, very cool anymore, but that was how it all had to happen. And then in the businesses, it started with businesses that were yoga and Pilates studios, and then grew into all fitness type areas. And the founders would just call up and say, I just, to get my, again, this sounds kind of crazy. You didn't have your calendar online. That was like something that it was like unheard of. And then to have your calendar online, they're like, yes, to have somebody book their appointments online. Are you kidding me? Sign me up. So it was a neat experience.
So it's funny. A lot of people we've been talking to this week, they don't know what a Rolodex is.
I know.
Yeah, we say that sometimes, and people just look at it. What are you talking about?
So I was at a conference last week in Cancun, and the speaker, he wrote the book Profit First, and he said, "Hey, you've got 5 years in a cycle, 3 cycles in a season. So when you run across somebody that is seasoned, they'll see something and say, I've seen this before, and they've seen it before because they've experienced 3 cycles and they've experienced entire seasons. And so the 3 of us here now, we are seasoned people. We've seen. So when somebody came in right before you, he sat down and said, yeah, I've got a startup. My product went live on Sunday, and I have my 5-year roadmap all laid out. Exactly. I didn't laugh at him. But I'm like, you are about to experience a cycle. You're about to learn something. Let me promise you, you do not have your 5-year roadmap.
Was he a first-time founder?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 20 years old, really smart kid.
Love that, though.
Yeah,
love the
love
enthusiasm.
that.
That's what we want.
He's looking for the future. He's looking out there. He believes that he has the answer to AI-based cheating job interviews, and I don't think he has it yet, but I think he has the enthusiasm, and I think he's going to figure it out. I guarantee it. But I guarantee you, he does not know what he's going to be doing 5 years from now. I promise him that. I've seen this
That's a
before.
bet I'm willing to take as well.
Yeah, I have seen this before. I guarantee you're going to have to pivot. You have to pivot. You don't. In some of my startups, I don't know exactly what we're doing the rest of the year. There's a few different things. I was talking to Damon John at the Scale with Stability in April, and I asked him, I said, okay, you have people with ideas, and then that is completely different. An idea is not the same thing as a business, and a business is not the same thing as a good investment. How do you tell the difference between those 3 things, and how do you find a founder that has that, okay, an idea, that's also a business, that's also investable? I'd love to hear your input on that.
So I think I've been doing angel investing for probably almost 10 years now. Even when I was doing my startup, I was investing. Having gone through the sales route, I spent my money on homes and doing investments in stocks and things like that. And one day I came upon an angel investment, and was basically someone mentored me to understand how angel investing works. Having done this now for quite a while, a lot of it is a gut thing, but there are certain things that you need to look at. But Jeff and I were talking about this earlier today. So much for me is predicated on the founder or the founding team that he or she puts together. And you just talked about this gentleman at 20 years old, right? Look, very inexperienced, first-time founder. Love the passion and energy, but just what you said, probably going to have multiple pivots, right? I look at the founder and founding team really heavily. You hear the grit, tenacity. I look for startup curiosity or just curiosity. That's really big for me. I ask a ton of questions. I did as a kid. I'm always being a sponge. I heard a gentleman the other day tell me, I think I know everything. And I was like, I've been doing this for 30 years and I'm still learning.
I hope that's not true. I want to know more.
Right.
Yeah.
But, it's tough, though, in regards to your question about finding that, is it a hobby or is this really an investable?
Yeah.
And part of that is, are they the founding team or the founder, if it's a solopreneur, is he or she coachable? Are they vulnerable? Are they open to feedback? Are they honest with themselves to recognize that they don't know everything? That becomes, to me, I don't not necessarily care, but I'm not as concerned about what product they're trying to develop or sell. Whether you told me you could sell $1 million of selling ice to Eskimo or bicycle tires, and I say it's a lot. In the end, if I trust you to get across the finish line and make this a very success, then I'm all in if I trust you. People do business with people they trust and like. And it takes time to earn that trust. And so that, to me, allows me to decide if it's investable. There are certain other things that you need to have criteria, like traction, MVP maybe, or customer revenue, and things like that.
I like to throw an idea out. So when somebody comes in, they give me their pitch, they're throwing me their passion, and they think they've got it figured out. I like to give them an idea. And if they completely disregard me without even considering what I've said, well, then I don't trust you anymore. Because why would I get involved in something if you're not going to value my opinion? For me, I can put money on something, that's fine, but I want to only be involved in something that I can contribute to, that I can accelerate. And if the founder's not going to listen to me, then we're not a good fit.
We often see that in pitch events. We have pitch events most months of the year, maybe 9 or 10 times a year, and usually about 4 companies. And we put them through a screening process, and we often have really good interaction. And then it gets to this pitch time where they get 8 minutes to give their pitch event, their pitch, and then another 8 minutes for questions. And what I sometimes see is that it gets to questions, and the founder just can't seem to interact with the crowd, and you just see it slipping away. And it's like, well, you had such a good start, but you can't interact and engage an audience, really showing that you know what you're talking about, and that you love what you're doing, and that you're willing, as Ichan was saying, that you're open to talking about your business and taking tough questions and handling them in a positive way, and also in maybe a vulnerable way is the right way to say it. And then you just kind of, I'm like, oh boy, this is just not going to happen. And then on the other side, we just see founders that know their numbers, and you just feel that passion, and everything you ask them, they have a really good, competent answer about how they're going to take it forward. And yes, they may not know what their 5-year, they've got it out there because we've asked them to put a 5-year plan together, but we're not looking at it, that closely. We're just trying to say, is there some really thought behind what you're doing?
I want to know if they have vision, and the only way to know if somebody has vision is to see, okay, how do you see this going? But if you got it down to the detail, I'm going to be developing this feature 5 years from now. No, you're not.
But I mean, you think about this, right? And for us and angel investors, we're early investors. Yeah. We're usually the first ones in on a startup, and these early stage startups, that is. We know that most fail. So now, which horse are we betting on that we think is not going to fail? We know that 8 or 9 out of 10 are going to fail. So we have to use other things, like he talks about the gut and just seeing them react to certain things. And you talked about like putting them a little bit, maybe pressuring them a little bit, right? Yep. Testing them out, see if they respond back. Are they transparent, honest? Do they come off as authentic and answering the questions when they're peppered with those things, right? And you see them react. And so there's things that over time you gained it. Look, we look at 30 to 50 applications a month. I've been doing this for like 9 years. You start to see things and just understand almost immediately.
I've seen this before. We're seasoned. We've seen this before. Somebody earlier today was telling me, we're looking into the system to see what's running, and then I passed that list to an AI to find out if it's a known. You don't need AI to do that. Just build a database. So a database, if you haven't seen it before, put it out there and then build your catalog. And he said, well, everybody's looking for AI. We're not looking to invest in AI companies because they're using AI in their system. We're looking to invest in companies that are using AI to do something you couldn't do without it.
That they're solving a problem that needs to be fixed, not just coming up with AI just to come up with AI.
Yeah, absolutely. So my real big intro to the startup community was Code Launch. And so I got to jump in and really get to know how that whole founders think. And what I found is if you have at least one seasoned founder and he has a good network and the concept that he has solves a real person for a real problem for a known person, and it's a solution that his experience led you to. So it's his background connects to an audience. They understand a problem, and that solution solves a problem for a known person. Those are the people that are more likely to be able to connect with the audience in a pitch competition, and those are the people that are likely to win. You could see in 2022, we won a belt, and we were able to pick the winner. And then in 23, we were able to pick a winner. And then in 24, we were able to pick every single winner. What it was is we were able to find out, not, hey, I like this idea, but what is a winner? What's the magic sauce? How do you pick a winner? And I think we got pretty good at that. At least one, I know how to pick a winner, and the other side we were able to coach.
You've been doing this for a while now, right?
Yeah. Remember to coach the winner. This is what these people are looking for. I've been to 12 of these, and I know how to connect to the
Those are really fun events. I had been to a couple of them last year. I dragged another 10 investors from Intan with me.
Yeah,
Jason and I got together.
I think we shook hands at that.
Yes, we met
sponsored
briefly.
the event.
And Jason and I had the same idea literally at the same time, that I needed to figure out a way to get more investors involved with his group, and he had the same idea. We were just thrilled to be part of it last year.
Yeah, I know how to pick a winner to win a Code Launch. You guys must have at this point some secret sauce on how to pick a winner that is likely to be able to win in the market, right? What are you looking for?
Yeah, I think it's a good time to talk a little bit about our process and
Yeah,
how
tell me
we
about
work
that.
as an angel network. And there are angel investors, individual angel investors, folks like Mark Cuban and everything, but he has a team, right?
Oh, yeah.
And lots of folks who get involved with angel investing, and as Ichan was saying, at first you don't really know anything about it. It's like a whole new industry. And the cool thing about joining an angel network is you get the value of our additional 70 members that are asking questions at a pitch event and giving you additional insight into how these founders are doing and asking questions that you may not think of. And then you're learning about term sheets and you're learning about due diligence. And we have a software platform that allows you to look at the portfolio and dig into all the details and interact with other members. You're not just doing it by yourself. You're gaining knowledge from others and then investing when you're ready to find you see a deal that works for you. Every angel investor makes their own decision, but we benefit from each other's knowledge and working as a group to do our work. So it's kind of that balance of, hey, we're all investing our own money, getting on the cap table, on the term sheet, using our own money, and making our own decisions, but we benefit from this group that's working together. And my role as executive director is we have a criteria on our website, and this is true for really every investment group, and I always encourage startups, go on the websites and see what the criteria is. Don't just apply, because it's like applying for a job. If you don't meet most of the criteria, then it really doesn't make much sense to go after that particular investor group. And so I thin it down to a number of companies, and then I engage 10 or 15 members that can get on a Zoom call with me to narrow it down some more. And then we do some screening calls, and then that gets us to having 4 companies pitch. So members are very much engaged in getting companies that fit in that area that we know we've invested before, where they have a certain valuation range. They're looking for, they're looking for a certain amount of money that they're raising, and we fit within that. And then it gets down to really, okay, what's the cool product they have? We're agnostic on what the technology might be, but we do have favorites. Everything in the tech area, and we love companies that are going to have that potential to grow to 100 million and get us a 10x return. I mean, that's the essential goal, but we want that 10x return in 3 to 5 years, if at all possible. It is a long, this is not an investment for the faint of heart. You got to be committed.
Yeah, you got to be understanding that any money you put in could go right down the drain too.
Yeah,
just
and
like that.
at least
Especially your first couple of investments. I mean, you hate to say that, but it's like it's like anything. You got to get started, and then you become seasoned over time.
Yeah, and I think also, you talk about like try to pick winners, right? I've been an entrepreneur for a long time myself, serial entrepreneur. I even have a startup right now in stealth mode that I'm helping out on. And so I also come from a side of being able to connect with these founders who are pitching to us or applying with us, being able to help them understand what we ask of them and the whole process that Jeff just kind of articulated, right? Helping them be as prepared as possible so that when they are going through the screening committee, or beyond that, when they are going through the pitch and actually pitch to us, and maybe they get enough interest from our group to now go through the month or 2 month long due diligence process, that they understand all that process that we ask them to go through, and helping kind of coach them in a little way. Again, we don't know who's going to win or make it out and be very successful and get that 5-10x return, but you're hoping that through all the other things, the tenacity, the grit, persistence, being curious, not saying no, not giving up, that they can actually run this thing for a while and make it.
Yeah, we had a founder I believe in a lot, very invested in his business, and I was like, okay, well, I need you to show me your updated cap table. He's like, the what now? And so we've got some resources. We walked them through those, but actually with him, I met him because he wasn't selected at Code Launch, and I was one of the sponsors of Code Launch. I had the applicant database. I reached him, and he had a great concept. He knew team-based sports really, really well, and understood the fundraising, understood the challenges, understood what would be a good solution for that. So I partnered with him. I have a percentage of his company. I built a product. My team helped him develop the go-to-market strategy, and we launched in the App Store and in the Play Store 3 weeks ago. His first live campaigns this weekend. So now we're looking, Code Launch is coming up again. He's in a different place, but he's selling. He's making money. He's signing contracts. He's got sales.
Has he applied with Intan yet?
No, he hasn't. He hasn't. Maybe we should. But what the conversation we had was for me, I went as a professional coder league at Code Launch, and we won a bunch of belts. And for me, I thought it'd be awesome to go back there as a founder team member and win another belt. But then we had to have a conversation. What are we going to get from that? Should Greg take his time away from operating the business, because this is like the season to be running campaigns for fundraising? Does he take time away from that to go in and be in the startup pitch competition? Or should we be heads down making money and growing the business? And we decided this time around, let's go out there. Coaches are signing up. We're running campaigns. We have a competitive advantage right now. Let's not be distracted from that. So my question for you is, when should a company decide, yes, I need to be approaching angel investors, it's time for me to doing that, versus other activities that founders need to do?
I think one of the main things they have to look at is in terms of how much cash they have on hand. If you are, like, let's say less than 6 months cash on run rate, then you get in front of investors, whether it's, well, especially if you're at the VC, that's even more dangerous. But in terms of angels or wherever you're looking, they're going to see that there's a vulnerability there, and that's going to hurt valuation of the company, and also maybe make it harder to get investment because there looks like there's a risk factor. So you want to have that 18, 24 months run rate. And of course, it's going to come down, but if it comes down too far, then you put yourself at risk of having a negative conversation with investors, because then they're worried about you having enough cash to stay viable. So that's where they need to be focused and again, that gets back to managing your business and knowing, okay, I've got to make payroll, and so I better have enough money coming in, or have enough, have a good credit line that I've established because I had money before. Make sure you've got those things covered so that you can have a positive relationship and then know when you need to raise more money.
Yeah, and definitely start making relationships with people like you before you get in that situation where I have to make money or I'm going to not make payroll.
I mean, people like Ichan are out there to find. Always, I'd love to support Dallas Fort Worth companies first, and then, companies that are local, we really want them to succeed. And I'm always a little bit surprised how many come and apply to us and they haven't met one of our 70 members. It's like, how is it possible if you're here and you haven't engaged enough in the ecosystem to get involved with? Because if I get any of my members to say, hey, I've met this person and that's why I've asked them to apply, or that brings them to the top of the list, as anybody can imagine. So networking is just so important.
I mean, we're going to trust our members, right, who are also very seasoned, experienced investors and former founders too, and entrepreneurs, or working in corporate small businesses. If some of our members have met some of these founders, right, what happens? They build trust.
Yeah.
Right. And I talked about trust earlier, how much trust it really, for me, how much trust there needs to be, right? Again, we know that it could be a crapshoot with them, but if they're sharing and displaying all these great characteristics, you kind of go on that hunch of they're coachable, they're investable, they might make it. But also it kind of frightens me that I network like crazy, and it frightens me that I've not ever met you in all the events I go to all the time. I'm doing 2 or 3 times a week. I am networking.
This is one of the things I don't like about technical founders. I'm a technical founder, and it is so easy for me to go, all right, I'm down. I'm building this. I'm going to build it. I have an idea. I am a visionary product guy. I'm going to build this thing, and I haven't talked to my customer. I haven't talked to other people in the network. I haven't vetted my idea by anybody else. I just put everything in there. Okay, cool. I've got it. Now I built this thing. It's time for me to take it out there. Let's get some money. I'll take it to market. I haven't developed go-to-market strategy. I haven't talked to anybody else to see if this is a bad idea or not. I've just built it. So for me, when somebody comes, I'm the technical founder. Okay, hey, who else are you working with? Oh, I'm building it myself. I'm scared. Like, who are you talking to? Who told you this is
a valid?
Why are you building this?
We have definitely seen that. It also can be described as the the inventor scenario, where the inventor knows everything but just can't quite get out of their own way.
I was just with this gentleman outside the window while waiting for it to come in here, and a buddy of mine, he started a company. He's got a sales background. He goes, I'm looking for a technical co-founder.
Introduce him to me.
Yeah, well, that's perfect. Yeah, exactly. I told him I'd pair him up with you, possibly. But we got a discussion because we both have done sales. And we talked, and I said, look, I'd rather be in your position than on the other side. Here's why. At the very least, you could go pay $50K for an MVP, but you've got the sales skill set to go sell it.
Yep.
Do you know how hard it is to find customers? It's the hardest thing to do as a startup. Not just find them, but retain them.
Yeah. On my side, I can build a prototype. Go show this to somebody and tell me if they like it and what I should change about it. I've been married for 18 years, and the first thing, thank you, we made it. Yeah. One of the first things I learned was it doesn't matter where you put the couch. You're going to have to move the couch. I moved into an apartment. I put the couch. My wife wasn't there. I put it in the only place that the couch would go. My wife comes in. Well, we have to move the couch. Why? Why do we have to move the couch? Okay, now the next time, upside down in a hallway, it can't stay there. All right, we have to move the couch. Of course we have to move the couch. Where do you think it should go? You have to do that with the market. Build something. It doesn't matter how perfect it is. You're going to have to move the couch. So get it in front of the customer fast, early, immediately. And the technical founder, a lot of times, they don't
Well, Isaac,
know how to reach it.
I need to keep massaging it, making it better. I need to think about it a little bit longer, and that's the wrong
And
idea.
your audience is the only person that can tell you where that couch is supposed to go. My wife was the only one.
Customer feedback.
As a technical founder, I need to have that connection to the audience, to the market.
Well, even before you start building a product, I like to go out and see if there's a demand for a problem that I believe is a problem. I don't even know if this is a problem that people actually fully understand and comprehend as a problem.
Yeah, and there's a difference between pain, urgency, and consequence. If you have a large audience, large market that is experiencing a minor pain with no consequence and a very low urgency, don't build it. Don't do. You're never going to make your money back. You're wasting your time.
The other thing that we often talk to early founders about is that you have to really understand is that you need to have your potential customers, the market, give your value to your company. Don't think that investors are going to give value to your company. We often get, well, if you give me money, then I can build my company and it'll have value. And I'm like, that's not how it works. You have to build a valuable business and we will invest in it. Investors will say, wow, you've got value here. And yes, you need to grow, so you need more funding to make that happen. Then you get funding. So build a good business and you'll get investment. Don't just always think I need investors to give me money because then I can make some kind of miracle happen.
Let me tell you a story of something that we did recently. You guys are experienced with Code Launch, so you know a team of 4 people spend 24 hours over 2 days coding an MVP and coding a prototype. I wanted to see what I could do with vibe coding. So I grabbed one junior engineer. I set up Cursor. I set up the rulers, and I went to build a prototype for an idea that I had, and me and one junior engineer in 10 coding hours developed a prototype that I would have won a PCL coding league with it, and I know that. I can. And instead of 140 dev hours, I did it with one guy in 10 hours, and then I took that prototype out to a specific audience of people, and I showed it to 3 or 4 of them, and we're building a company around that now. Because I was able to go with an idea. I had an idea, and by Monday I had a prototype. And then with that prototype, we now know exactly what to build and what not to build. So if people come and say, hey, I need a technical founder, I promise you I can build a prototype in a day that you can take and show and use with the customer. And I know a lot of people are scared about vibe coding. I used to be one of those people. I promise you, the founders that learn how to build a prototype quickly and then can build an actual, and there's a method to that. I'm writing the playbook on how to build scalable code quickly with vibe coding. But what I want to see is I want to give me enough of a idea to build a solution. I'll build your prototype in 1 day. You take that back to your audience, to your buyer, and make sure it's the right thing. Take the feedback. And when I show it to a CFO, they say, can it do this? It will be able to on Friday. Awesome. Cool. All right. Can it do this other thing? Do you want it to do that thing? Then yes, that's exactly what it's going to do. Awesome. Cool. You're telling me how to build a product. Now we take it back, we build it fast, and then we test it. That's what founders need to be able to do today. And I don't want to give somebody 50 or 80 grand and then go back in 6 months and come back with something that they can test and, oh, hey, the market doesn't want it.
Right.
We are not in 2020 anymore.
Well, Jeff described a scenario where a lot of founders will wait, and they do the hockey stick, and all of a sudden then they launch 6 months, and by the time they launch, they're already irrelevant.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Got to test it fast.
Right. Iterations, quick, Scrum.
Yeah. And I love Agile.
Me too.
Only to get the requirement of what needs to be built. Then as soon as I know what needs to be built, Agile's out the window. I know what I need to build. I want to know, as an investor, I want to know, what am I getting? When am I getting it? What's it going to cost? And if you come to me and say, I still don't know when you're developing or when it's going to be delivered, I don't know when I can give it to the customer, how can I build a go-to-market strategy if I don't know what I'm going to get? How do I invest in something if I don't know when you're going to deliver it? So awesome. I think we have a lot more to talk about, but I really enjoyed you being on here.
Yeah.
Founders, find people who understand the market, find people that understand how to build a company that is successful, and make sure you're networking. Make sure that you're out there talking, that you're not in a echo chamber. My mom thinks every idea I've ever had is a genius idea. Find people that will be contrarian and tell you if you have a bad idea so you can focus in on what the market needs. Jeff, thank you for being here. Ichan, thank you.
John, yeah.
Thanks so much for having us.
Awesome.
Yeah, appreciate it.